They're mine by mine. I mean, I love them.
Hey, don't forget.
I am so freaked out by this. And I just to see, oh my God, this is the craziest thing I ever. We know it's getting worse. I mean, it's like when I try to put a cuss word on my iPhone, it won't let me say it. This is the next level of that. Jacobson, what happened?
Well, Alex, we did actually a couple of search terms. We did terrorist, which returned us the mandatory search return of Muslims are not terrorists. We did radical Muslim terrorism, in which case nothing came up on the suggestion list, but when we press enter, it would not allow us to enter that term. Radical Muslim
scandal. We need big articles on this.
Muslim terrorism also. We were not able to enter Muslim terrorism. It would not return on the tag.
See, that's why I want to mount cameras, except we have codes and private stuff, so we can't do it. But cameras everywhere, so you can see what we deal with every day. Like Hillary had the biggest exclusion zone in history over the RNC and DNC, so we can't fly airplanes. That's never been done before, 30 miles out. I mean, you know, with Hillary for prison signs, this is crazy, McBrain.
Well, and Alex, don't forget, it was just earlier last year, it was Mark Zuckerberg was caught on a hot mic talking with German Chancellor Angela Merkel
about censoring people.
About censoring. And she says that we really need you to start censoring people on these Muslim migrants. And he says, we are working on it. And since that happened, I mean, what else? We got
And by the way, people can say there's
story.
some red herring. We're overreacting to this. No, 5 million people in Europe in 3 years. There's something big. Let me ask you both.
The floodgates are open.
This is huge. What do you think's really behind this, Jacobson?
Oh, I think it's, I mean, I think it's basically what we talk about all the time. It's a combined effort to undermine Western civilization. I mean, basically what Watson was just discussing. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You have on one side this leftist takeover, and on the other side you have, you know, you can't criticize, you can't talk, you can't even discuss Muslims, you can't talk about radical
Islam.
Islam.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist. Guys cutting women's genitals off with bags on their heads, fine. But you got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you're guilty.
And it's not just, I mean, it's happening all across of Western civilization, whether it's America, Europe, you know, anywhere that's westernized is going to have some sort of Muslim terrorist kind of action or leftist terrorist kind of action as well. As these people terrorize our minds, we're not allowed to talk, we're not allowed to express ourselves, criticize or do anything. And at the same time, the Muslims are actually causing violence, deaths, and killing.
You can't call it Muslim terror.
I can't even put the term into the thing.
Yep.
The video's about Muslim terrorism. That's what the video's about.
That's who's doing it.
Yeah, that's what's going on. I try to enter the term, and it will not allow me.
I mean, if it was some crazy Christian group doing this, we'd say Christian terrorist.
That's right. And you can enter anything else. I mean, we tried multiple different terms,
Guys,
multiple different phrases.
Get this video up. Take a clip from the show right now. Put it. It's going to go viral. Drudge is going to pick it up. I bet.
Right.
I mean, this is insane. And I'm not picking a fight with Facebook. We reach people there. But I mean, they're just incredible censors. He calls his users dumb efforts. Great job, guys. We're going to go over, folks, over an hour here tonight. I'm going to bring in Leanne McAdoo and Margaret and others here soon. Paul Watson, closing comments from London, England, my friend. You're pretty close to Nice and Paris right now.
Closing comments are, France is basically gone. I mean, it's like Belgium at this point.
It's like California,
yeah. Will this lead to Marine Le Pen? Will that be enough? Who knows by now? I think what will move it possibly is if this happens in Germany. We've seen there was a massive attack planned in Dusseldorf. Basically, Germany is Europe at that point. It's how they react to that terror attack, which is inevitable. They brought in 1 million plus of these people. So that's going to really tell how it's going to, you know, pan out going forward.
And that's just the latest wave. That's just the latest wave.
Yeah.
The globalists think we're going to capitulate to this. Go ahead.
Final comment is a quote from Hillary Clinton. Quote, "Let's be clear, Islam is not our adversary. Muslims are peaceful and tolerant people, nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism. Don't let this woman anywhere near the White House, period."
All right, Paul, they're going to be covering it at INFOWARS.com. I know. What time is it in Albion?
It's coming up to 2 a.m., but I'll be up all night working.
Oh, we love you. Gosh, I tell you, you're a great American, Watson. Best American I know. It's true. That's what founded Americans, these great red coat creatures. That's what I'm one of those too. Hey, I tell you, it is awesome to see everybody across the world waking up to what's going on. And I tell you, Saudi Arabia is just pure evil, and so is China. But I tell you, what's really evil is the globalists that are running this whole show. They're really evil. They're against humanity, and they're bringing in uncompatible crazies to just shake up societies, thinking, man, everybody's speech, to finally end, the scourge of the terror attacks. And I told you, it used to be every year. Now it's every month, every week. Boom, 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 boom. And, we could live with terror attacks. It still wouldn't kill as many people as cars. But they're going to use it to take our rights. That's why I'm taking Islam on head on. Because it's crazy. I can't go to these countries and preach Christianity or preach liberalism or preach Confucianism or animism or Zoroastrianism or Buddhism, whatever I wanted to teach. I can't teach anything. So why do I got to then have you here, give you everything, and watch you blow stuff up all day, and then bitch about it with a bunch of leftists patting you on the head and weird videos our crew gets of little, high school and college feminists with feminists on their face going, Alex Jones hates Muslims. I mean, who am I hurting? I'm a flaming liberal, man. I'm for freedom. Do what you want. Don't hurt me. Leave me alone. Oh, no, though. They're the new liberals, and they're allied with Saudi Arabia and a bunch of cult leaders. That's why we got something in liberal countries called right to self-defense. It's so liberal, I got 250 cals about 20 feet from me and an M4 and a 357. It's so liberal that I know how to fight back and break people's noses if they attack me. It's so liberal that I'm a loving, big old sweet kitty cat. But you attack me, I'm going to attack you right back. I'm not a victim. And that's what freedom's all about. Let's go to this clip. On John Bound, we're bringing in some of our reporters to talk about what's happening. Stay with us.
37 cities have been designated for a Day of Rage, slated to begin around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The cities announced by Anonymous include Phoenix, Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, San Francisco, California, Oakland, California, Los Angeles, California, Denver, Colorado, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Miami, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, Des Moines, Iowa, New Orleans, Louisiana, Baltimore, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, Detroit, Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Louis, Missouri, Carson City, Nevada, Manhattan, New York, Newark, New Jersey, Durham, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Portland, Oregon, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, Seattle, Washington, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Although Anonymous is calling for peaceful protests, we should quickly remember that the attack on the Dallas, Texas Police Department that occurred last week began peacefully. Unbelievably, George W. Bush appeared to be beside himself with psychopathic glee when he recently attended the memorial service for the slain Dallas police officers. President Obama is reacting in his typical way as well. Rather than doing what any U.S. president would do in the wake of a rash of attacks on police officers from Texas to Michigan, working towards peace and distancing the country from division, Obama, of course, immediately met with the UN-backed and George Soros-funded Black Lives Matter representatives to apparently war game the Day of Rage on July 15th.
UN invites Black Lives Matter to event. UN rights expert cites structural and institutional racism in the U.S. That's CNS News. The UN runs Black Lives Matter through the Open Border Foundation, Open Society Foundation that Soros puts billions into. Billions with a B. So, of course, they're part of the UN. It's the Strong Cities Initiative.
Now, in a movement like Black Lives Matter, there's always going to be some folks who say things that are stupid or imprudent or overgeneralize or are harsh. And I don't think that you can hold well-meaning activists who are doing the right thing and peacefully protesting responsible for everything that is uttered at a protest.
The term Day of Rage was first used by the Weather Underground. the radical leftist socialist organization that targeted government buildings and banks in the 1970s, members of which, including Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, have contact with President Obama to this very day.
The one thing I'm certain of is that whatever the 60s was and whatever this product is that they're selling us, it was prelude to today. And the question is, what are we going to do now? Leaning forward, not what was the great glory of the past. I think that's kind of a nonsensical way to think.
In the words of the document that created the Weather Underground, quote, "A revolutionary mass movement is different from the traditional revisionist mass base of sympathizers. Rather, it is akin to the Red Guard in China, based on the full participation and involvement of masses of people in the practice of making revolution. A movement with a full willingness to participate in the violent and illegal struggle," end quote.
There were telephoned bomb threats to 22 other Washington buildings yesterday and 2 more today, all false alarms. Credit for the Capitol bombing was claimed in a letter received by the Associated Press today, signed by the Weather Underground and postmarked Elizabeth, New Jersey. Nevertheless, Attorney General Mitchell said today there is no evidence of a conspiracy, just a lot of people getting in on an act.
Every radical organization will descend on the aforementioned targeted cities. There could very well be shootings, rioting, and protesters blocking traffic. Steer clear of these protests if you live in any of the 37 cities mentioned. Obama's fundamental transformation of America is accelerating. John Bound for INFOWARS.com.
Brain Force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're going to crash and going to feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again. And for example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and Margaret Howell is with us. Also, we have Leanne McAdoo, just back from her vacation, visiting with family, and she's here to see this. You're here to see this. We of course, tape the news. Some nights it's live. Much of the news we did tape, this started happening around 5:30 while you guys were taping the news, so that's going to air right when this ends. A lot of key news on other subjects. What is it like for you to see 73 and growing dead, run over by a truck in Nice, guys shooting people with machine guns, other events happening? Looks like they're trying to cover that up. They said Fort Hood, Major Hassan was a terror attack. It was workplace violence at the San Bernardino, on and on and on. Army, Navy recruiting centers, guys saying Allah Akbar, shooting Philadelphia cops in the head. I mean, this is clearly a global jihad being launched. Saudi Arabia involved. What is it like for you? Because during the break, Facebook mentioned folks saw it, but other people didn't. I've told the story. And folks, I mean, I just tell you like it is. I've never had an anxiety attack in my life. Not being physically attacked, mugged, you name it. I've been out at areas like the Domain and Barton Creek, and I see women in full headdresses covered up with their men dragging around like they're dogs. And I've got my daughters, and I see these men, very aggressively. I mean, you see these Islamic teachers and stuff, it's the same thing. It's pointing at my daughters. And I just have a palpable, like a big mean pit bull's growling at you, actual, like, whoa, because it's just sudden. It's a massive invasion. It's globalist run. They've covered up the numbers. First, Leanne McAdoo, watching this in Nice, watching the other attacks, watching them being covered up. What is your visual response to this?
Well, I instantly started crying, of course, because I had the unfortunate experience of watching one of these videos playing on Twitter, and to actually see the aftermath before it was blurred out, before they tell you, oh, it was just a horrible.
Because we're a news center. You were watching it right as it happened.
Yeah, so I'm watching it as it's playing out, what we're able to see, what isn't being censored or omitted by the Obama administration because they don't want to offend Muslims, so they don't want to show this. People need to see this. I mean, I believe Kit Daniels brought this up, that, you know, they're going to put out videos of police shootings, graphic videos